Hello and welcome to the special interview with Thomas Andersson, Vice President International, Volvo Cars. So great having you on NDTV.
Thank you very much.
If I can begin by asking you about that big excitement around the XC90. You're really teasing the market with some images of what the car will look like. How big is this for Volvo really?
It's very big. It's very big. The current XC90 that we have in the market now, when it was launched some time ago now, it was a huge success for Volvo. It brought us up to record sales level, and now when the successor is coming and entering into the market in a new way, then we have as high or even higher expectations.
Sure. It's kind of a beginning of an evolution for Volvo itself, because you're looking at a new platform, you're looking at a new design language. There are lots of changes on the inside as well as on the outside. So this, pretty much starting from scratch. How does that feel, globally? I mean, because it must have been a challenge pretty much starting from scratch, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're an independent company now since 3 years back, and of course that brings a lot of new strategies. And what we've done now is create a totally new architecture for all our vehicles, and also the new engine platform. So these two things together are huge, of course, for a company of the size of Volvo. Now, that's also a great opportunity, because now we can form and shape our own future. And with the XC90 coming along now, that's the first testament to that, to the new Volvo. And we are also sure that will bring along also even more interest in our existing vehicles, which are performing very well.
So can you elaborate a bit on this new architecture, the SPA really, in terms of what it brings to the table? Because you've not seen it. The XC90 is going to be the first car that's going to roll out on this architecture. Take us through in terms of what this architecture really means.
Yeah, I think in essence what it does is it's a modular architecture, which means that we can build different vehicles, different body styles out of the same architecture. And of course that, on the one hand, that brings fantastic synergies, but it also then gives us the opportunity to really enter into the luxury segment the way we want to do it, without compromising anything when it comes to the design language. Our safety heritage, of course, is always prominent in everything we do, and will continue to be so. But also then preserving the functionality of the Volvo brand, and the craftsmanship now elevated to a completely new level.
Sure.
And that, coupled with the new engine architecture, engine strategy, now is what we consider to be really something exciting.
Sure. That design language that you talked about, futuristic, it looks pretty much out of the world at one glance. But take us through in terms of the design language, how it evolved. What were your specific priorities that you wanted to make it look as luxurious but still as contemporary with the Volvo heritage in mind?
And that's always the case, as you point out, when it comes to, you have to bring the heritage with you always, and you have to look into the past to see were there any specific models, any specific design language that we want to emphasize. And we've taken a look at the very best of historic design from Volvo, and then that coupled with, of course, how can we be relevant in the market today? And as a matter of fact, then Swedish design, Scandinavian design in the last 20-30 years has developed immensely, and is now something really relevant in many luxury markets around the world. So here we have taken, trying to take the best out of our history, and the best out of Scandinavian design language, and you couple that with, new technologies and this new architecture, giving the possibility to get both exterior and interior design to be designed around you.
Sure. With all this excitement that you've created around the new images of the XC90, what's been the market feedback so far that you've got? Are people excited about this across the world?
I think there is actually a huge pent-up demand for this vehicle, and we decided quite early to go for 3 different concept cars. And so we've launched 3 different concept cars, paving the way for the launch of the XC90. So a concept coupe, a concept SUV, and a concept estate. And I think with that we've been able to really earmark that these are the things that you will see in a Volvo going forward. And we can see that from the huge, press interest and from the general public, that we're on the right track.
So when does the car come to India?
Well, that's hopefully sooner rather than later, huh? No, it's like this. We're launching the car globally, unveiling the car in August in Stockholm.
Yep.
And which means that it will go into deliveries in the near markets from a European perspective at the end of the first quarter. And we expect then a good order book to be built up for the Indian market and deliveries after, let's say August of 2015.
So you're saying the deliveries in India will possibly start by 2015?
Yes, absolutely. That's our aim, and we are launching the car worldwide.
Okay.
And
which includes India as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that will happen at the end of this year, you're saying?
2015.
2015.
So we will unveil the car
Okay.
in India at more or less at the same time as we are starting deliveries in Europe, which is quarter one of 2015. But then, of course, due to the lead times and so on. But if all the customers out there, they start to get the interest, trigger the interest, come in with their orders, and we'll make sure we line up deliveries.
Sure. Let's just take a step back and look at your strategy so far in India.
Yes.
Are you pretty much happy with the progress you've made? Because you've seen your other big German competitors, pretty much race ahead much more than what you did. Are you happy with what you've done so far? Is this what you had planned, or you think you could have done better, just looking back at what you've accomplished so far?
We're very happy with the recent years' development. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, of course, we haven't been active in the Indian market as long as some of our competitors, and that's why we have a smaller base to work from. On the other hand, what that gives us is the opportunity to look at what has worked, what has not worked, and given how Volvo is, the brand identity of Volvo is very much designed around you, designed around the customers. We have safety and service is really in our DNA. So what we're focusing on now is really giving a strong signal to the market that we take this market very seriously. We're setting up service network at the very, very best quality levels. Of course, sales, showrooms around the country, setting up the infrastructure to be able to serve the customers here in the very best way. So on the one hand, as I said, we've had a great development the last few years. Yeah, of course, from a smaller base.
Sure.
But I think what we want to do is capture the learnings in the marketplace, and as then the Volvo brand coming in, make sure that we become relevant and serve the Indian customer.
So what's the rollout plan for dealers across the country? How many dealers do you want to get to by the next year?
Right now we have 13 dealers in the country, and we expect that within 6 months or so to have roughly 17. So by the end of the year, beginning of next year, we should be serving 70 to 80% of the premium market from a geographical point of view. And then, of course, we will try to make sure that we cover and we can serve customers throughout the country in the best possible way. At the same time, we want to make sure we have quality in the representation. So we usually say that we create Volvo embassies all over the country, and then, of course, to have an embassy, you have to live up to the standards of an embassy.
Sure.
So the representation needs to be at a certain level, rather than just have a quantity of representation point. Quality is key.
Sure. So is that a challenge to reach that Indian consumer, because he's used to seeing the other German brands, but for them to kind of look at Volvo as an option? We talked about the embassies being not just about quantity, but more about quality. Is that the challenge that Volvo is facing today, and trying to change that in the near term?
I think awareness, yes, of our products above all. That's an area we have to focus on. And of course then by establishing ourselves with service network, with sales network, that is a gradual process. And sometimes you want that to go quicker rather than taking longer time. But I think that's of course something we are challenged with, as any brand that is developing from a smaller base.
Sure.
But we have a strong brand identity in this market, not least via our sister brands, and I think the Indian consumer, what we can see is they respect the brand very much. They have a huge respect for our safety leadership.
Sure.
And our innovations in that area, and it's our job now to make sure that they get to learn also the new products. And now with the new XC90, that's another opportunity, of course, because in this business, in this industry, leading with new product launches, that then you can elevate the interest and the awareness levels.
Sure. Also in terms of the Indian market, because the last year has been fairly depressing in terms of the overall growth, but certain segments did pretty well. What's the sense that you believe in your segments that you're operating in going forward? Are you expecting the sentiment to improve and that reflecting in overall sales?
Yeah, we feel that the sentiment will improve definitely in the overall market, and we haven't seen really in the premium and the luxury car segment that it has been very depressed, and that has very much to do with the fact that that part of the car market is still quite small. Sure. So there is a lot of room to develop within the total industry in the luxury segment. So I think those two things, then it's never going to be a linear growth curve. It's always going to be sometimes a bumpy road, but those bumps could be stepping stones.
Sure.
As well,
and sometimes a smooth highway.
Sometimes a smooth highway as well. So we see positive on the development of the segment.
Sure.
And certainly, on a 3 to 5 year and longer perspective, this will be a very important market. It already is for Volvo.
Sure.
That's how we treat this market today. It's as one of our larger markets, because it will be.
Okay. And besides the XC90, any new products, any new engines you want to bring in this year to the market, Indian market?
We are launching and have been launching new engines. So our new Drive E engines, very efficient engines, diesel engines, and they have been well accepted in the marketplace, and that's being rolled out as we speak.
Okay.
But the next big vehicle launch is the XC90.
Okay.
And I think even also here, it's a matter of then doing that with utmost quality, making sure that our people, our staff in the dealerships, in the sales company, that they are trained at the right level to be able to serve the customers of these new products. So we don't believe in sort of multiple car launches at the same time, because it's very difficult to keep the quality at the right level.
But you also want to keep a buzz going with the existing models that you have, so that you're not really lost out on the curve.
No, absolutely. And again, I think the new XC90 will also put highlights on the existing range for those people that may not know us to that level of detail.
Sure. Yeah.
And our current range clearly matches the competition.
So the new engines will come on across all the models?
All the models will get successively now new engines starting now. So there will be.
And that will take in the next 6 months?
It will take a couple of years until we have completed that journey.
Okay.
But so we're making sure that the total engine portfolio is competitive. So we're competitive in each sub-segment of the market, without diluting with too broad of an offer, which will confuse both our dealers and our customers. So try to do it, have the right engines in the right place.
Sure. Any progress on your assembly plants in India in terms of, because that's going to be a crucial part of your overall strategy, because pricing is going to be key in India. Any progress that you've made on the assembly plant that you're planning in India? You've talked about Karnataka, that you want to kind of share that line. Is that on? How far has it gone ahead?
We have no decision today to start an industrial operation in India. That's something we are reviewing, and looking into. And in parallel, we are developing our commercial operations. So again, back to the service coverage, which is really what we want to make sure is that we serve our customers in the right way. The industrial side is something we're looking into and taking seriously, but there's no decision today.
Okay, but you're still reviewing that?
Absolutely, we're still reviewing that.
All right.
Yes.
Thomas, thank you so much for talking to NDTV.
Thank you very much.